Right.
So this is the silent word, page 254, I believe, in the middle,
269, 260.
269 in the middle of it. At the Because of the number of horse-drawn carriages, bullock carts, some motor cars, and many lorries, those are trucks, by the way, I think, parking zones had to be marked out. Babajan's birthday, 26th January, oh, it's coming up, was celebrated with great enthusiasm and din. At the Thursday afternoon tea party at Kaka Shahana's place, which was being continued every week, Baba brought up the subject of quote unquote vital forces or quote unquote vital fluid. He said that the loss of this, accepting in the relations of man and wife, which are based upon mutual love and respect, was a serious matter. Indulgence for its own sake, whether natural or unnatural, or in dreams, simply increased one's sanskaric load. There are people, he said, who say it is natural for the energies of the body to be spent. Spent? Yes, but in service, not in lust. So the best remedy is to keep the mind engaged in love for God and in service for others. Without the rains, people would not get food or drink, but they must come at the right time, at the right place, in the right quantity. Otherwise, they may destroy the crops and flood the countryside. Shariarji and Shirin and the four brothers, Jamshed, Jal, Behram, and Adi, came a week before the birthday and stayed through. A new pump for the well was brought out. Baba laid it down that the work must be finished that same day. Otherwise, the pump was to be thrown away. The mason, who was from outside, was asked to complete his part of the work before knocking off. But he sneaked away to town at the usual knocking off time, and Baba finished the work himself. With the return of Chanji from Bombay, where he had been sent on work, the birthday play rehearsals took on direction and purpose. A low masonry walled, earth filled platform was built at one end of the Durbar. A wooden box, 6 foot by 5 foot by 5.5 foot, with an open side towards the body of the hall, was placed in the center of the platform. By the evening before the 18th February, this work, which had been entrusted to a Joba, was or a Hoba, was not finished, and Baba sat with him while he worked till midnight to finish it. The side durbar, the specially made bathroom for the ceremonial bath, the duni, and the jopti were all decorated with bunting and leaves and flowers. Baba supervised every detail, but still found time to go to the hospital and inquire after the patients and to the Dharamshala to see that all were comfortable. People from distant places began arriving in the dark of the morning to celebrate Avatar Meher Baba's 32nd birthday anniversary. And by sunup, the road from the city was a flow of carriages, tongas, bullock carts, walkers, and some motor cars and lorries. This stream met an opposite one from Dawned Way in a confusion of vehicles, for the zoned areas were too small and soon filled up. Baba moved freely among the people in the eternal spring of his own glory. Dozens of refreshment, flower, and toy shops had been erected for the day on both sides of the road, around about the Durbar. At 8 o'clock, the ceremonial bath began with first the women bathing Baba and then the men. Each was allowed only one tumbler of water to pour over him. Many, after taking Baba's darshan, left, and so, some soon motor lorries began plying between the place and Nagar, taking some people back and bringing more. At any one time, there were not less than 5,000. There were continuous bhajans. The surging crowd around the bathroom became unmanageable, and the Mandali had to lock arms and keep a cleared circle around it. The bathing went on for a full hour and was declared over, but still hundreds had not been able to catch hold of the tumbler, quickly moving from hand to hand. Baba was then dressed and, encircled by the protective cordon of Mandalay, was conducted to the side durbar and seated in the box. Pleader began his Purana recital and skillfully wove Baba's early life together with historical and mythological figures, and included Shireen Mai's dream about him before he was born, in which the goddess proclaimed that he belonged to the whole world, not to his earthly mother. This recital ended at 10 o'clock, and then the birth ceremony was performed with a rain of flowers falling around his seat. Arti was sung at 11:30, and the Mandali went for their dinner. But Baba, after taking a few morsels, moved about the tables with his loving glances and gentle and humorous words. Shireen Mai was the proudest mother in the throng, but Shariarji praised God for fulfilling his prophecy that his son would be a great light in the world. Food cooked by Babu Brahman and his helpers was served throughout the rest of the day. In the evening, to satisfy the wishes of his close lovers, Baba allowed himself to be borne on a flower-decked palanquin round the ashram and up the hill, accompanied by exultant drums and the insistent steel of scores of talls. Must have been wonderful. Arriving there, the din fell over itself and was drowned in a pool of silence, and the women performed the arti. On its return, the procession called at Kaka Shahana's home, and the final arti was sung and tea was served. And so the usual Thursday tea party was also enjoyed. After returning to the ashram, Baba took his seat again in the side durbar so that people could again pass before him one by one and enjoy the full sight of his beautiful form. With the night, fresh crowds surged out from the city. There was a fireworks display for an hour, and then Baba took his seat in the durbar and gave darshan till midnight, when he retired to his seat by the Duni. It was estimated that 50,000 people had had a darshan of God-man. Many from distant places were bedded down in the side durbar. Others slept about. It was 1 o'clock before the Mandali sought their own beds, exhausted with restraining the enthusiastic crowds. And so passed Godman's 32nd birthday celebration. Consequent to the recent betrothals of 2 Mong and 4 Mahar boys from the school, their marriages were performed by a Brahmin at Meherabad strictly according to Hindu rites. Baba had told the boys' parents to look out for suitable matches, but the actual selection was made by the boys and girls themselves, thus breaking the age-long custom of arranged marriages. In the general excitement, it was overlooked that one of the boys was a Christian, and this led to a great dispute between both sides. But it was eventually agreed to have the marriages according to have the marriage according to that religion. However, later on, the girl's parents pressed Baba for a Hindu remarry, but he would not allow it. Almost the entire village turned out, and Baba provided the wedding feast. The play Shah Shivaji, which was to have been performed on the birthday and was not, now was. As well as most of the people in the colony, many came from the village. It went on till 2 a.m. News was received of the passing of Jamshed, Baba's elder brother. The Mandalay were profoundly shocked. They could not believe that a healthy man of 33 years, who had been with them only a few days earlier, could just die without any previous symptoms. They also could not understand Baba's apparent indifference to the event, his matter of fact tone in reading the telegram as though it were of no more importance than any ordinary occurrence. Baba said, Jamshed persistently refused to remain here. He went away and so is gone. Then he asked the Mandali if they felt any grief. Many said they did, and Baba said that it was all hypocrisy and selfishness. At this, someone said, but from the worldly point of view, Baba, everyone must feel the loss of someone dear. Baba said, why must they? That is where the mistake is made. It is all false. One persisted, but Baba, he was your brother, and now he is dead. Baba replied, indeed, he was my brother, but now he is resting in me. But how, asked another, are we ordinary worldly people to know and appreciate that? By believing those who know the secrets of life and death, Baba replied. Baba continued, death is common to all. It is an essential step towards real life. The soul merely changes its abode, discards its old coat. It may also be compared to sleep, the only difference being that after death, one wakes up in a new body, whereas after sleep, it is the same body one is inhabiting. People do not go into hysterics when some dear one has gone to sleep. They know that they will see him awake and about again. Then why not be unconcerned when someone sleeps the sleep of death, since he is bound to wake up again in a new body? The reason is that people having mortal and therefore defective eyes cannot see the subtle form of their beloved or friend, and so they cry or silently feel, my beloved father is dead, my support is gone, the light of my eyes is dimmed, where is my sweetheart? It is selfishness, not consideration for the one just passed away, that makes them bemoan their loss. Since the day of beginning, the sword of death has been swinging freely right and left. Every day I see hundreds of thousands of my brothers dying without feeling anything about it. Jamshed was no exception to the rule and could not be exempted from death's stroke. After some discussion, Baramji, Jal, Masaji, and Pendu left by car for Pune for the funeral, and Baba took up his daily round of inspection, and in the afternoon played some games of table tennis. The party returned in the evening when it was learnt that Jamshed had died from a heart attack and had taken Baba's name till the end. The school, grinding, tailoring, watering, and dispensary were suspended for Jamshed and Navroz, and the day began with the people performing arti in the Sai Durbar. Baba and the men were photographed together. He also posed alone. For the noonday meal, a special pulau was cooked by Masaji for the non-Hindus of the Mandali and by Vishnu's mother for the Hindus. This was the first time since the ashram came into being that such a substantial and tasty meal had been served. Okay, I'm pausing the. Okay, I've resumed the recording, and Diana is reading.
Piaru and his band of sweet singers came again and gave two programs in the afternoon and at night, at the conclusion of which Baba gave him and his tabalji silk scarves.
It's I wonder if that. Sorry to interject. Might be tabla. You know, his tabla player.
Oh, that's right. And I'll say tablaji silk scarves. Thank you. A school committee elected by the boys themselves was formed to make recommendations to the circle committee on action to be taken on school matters. The parent body was reduced from 27 to 14 and was put on a permanent basis. At one of the tea parties at Caucus Place, Baba gave a discourse on intelligence, thinking, and imagination. He said, intelligence, not thinking, is unconsciousness and may be likened to sound sleep. Thinking and imagination are latent in intelligence. When intelligence thinks of itself, it is God. When it thinks about imagination, it is world body ignorance. Take the figure of a gramophone record. When it is riot playing, it is in sound sleep or intelligence, not thinking. But when the needle is put on it, the latent imagination manifests.
It was probably when it is not playing. Where it says riot, the riot probably is not
okay.
Playing.
I'll read that again. Take the figure of a gramophone record. When it is not playing, it is in sound sleep or intelligence, not thinking. But when the needle is put on it, the latent imagination manifests. It begins to play, that is, becomes the world of thought and action. Take another figure and liken intelligence to the ocean, which is calm at first, but when wind, that's desire of intelligence to know itself, blows, the water gets ruffled or begins to think and forms into waves, which in turn become uncountable bubbles. The ocean intelligence is in each of the bubbles as imagination in the limited form. Baba then put some water in a big pot and turned a glass upside down on it and pointed out that although the same water was in the glass as in the pot, its quantity was limited. Similarly, the ocean is in the bubble. Intelligence is in the imagination, but limited. At another time, when there were a lot of visitors present, Baba said, the whole world is enmeshed in women and wealth, while the real aim and object of life is to achieve truth. Unless God is realized, the purpose of acquiring a human body is frustrated. But realization is impossible until the purity of intelligence is freed from the imagination. And this can be achieved only by keeping the company of real saints. But those heroes who have had the actual experience of truth are indeed very few, while the world abounds in hypocrites who pose as divine guides. How can one who has not had the experience himself guide others towards it? The same evening, the new deputy collector of the district came to see Baba, and he talked to him on divine subjects for some time. Baba mused, who is going? Who is coming? Why going? When coming? Where going? Whence coming? Going why? How coming? The wave asked the ocean to make it ocean. The ocean in return said, stop ruffling me. Baba formed a debating club for the boys. He now had a new program. After getting up and leaving the Jopti, bathing and doing the round of inspections, he shut himself in the box in the Durbar till noon, and from then till 6 o'clock devoted himself to visitors. This went on for some time. Sometimes in the evening he played cricket with the Mandali. For the first time, Baba explained to the Mandali that the universe came out of nothing, but at the same time, he showed that nothing was something. When one says something is nothing, the isness of nothing is there. This was to become the theme of his book, God Speaks, published 30 years later. Baba heard that a certain Gulab Shah, who had been staying in the ashram for some time now, considered himself to have the same station as Baba and could equally give others a spiritual lift. Baba sent for him and asked why was it so, and he said it was. Baba then said that there would be no purpose in his staying there any longer, but that if he had full faith in Khwaja Sahib of Ajmer, he should go to him, and there he would learn who Baba was. The man said that he had full faith in that master, and Baba provided him with the expenses for the journey to northern India. Regular physical fitness exercises every day were now introduced for the boys, but many of the villagers thought that their sons were being trained to be sent to war and came to Baba in a body, asking that the boys be allowed to go to their homes to sleep, so that under cover of darkness, military recruiters could not whisk them away. Baba told them that it saddened him that in the face of all his disinterested labor for their welfare and uplift, they could have so little faith in his guidance. Did they really think that he would be having the boys trained to be sent away to war? And would they be more secure in their homes than in the ashram under his protective eye? Well, they could take their boys home and keep them there, and he would no longer have them in the school. 44 Mahar boys went, leaving only 40 Maratha boys. But late that night, after the Mandali had gone to bed, all the Mahars trooped back and begged to be forgiven for their foolishness. Baba agreed to take the boys back on condition that their fathers gave in writing sole charge of their boys to him, and that they, the parents, would fast for 3 days as penance for their sins of unbelief. Everyone was happy with this and thanked Baba again and again and went home. The next day, Baba called a meeting of the debating club and this gave much amusement and good instruction to the boys. Then Baba took them for a walk in the fields, and when they returned, served them with tasty food which the Joba had just brought from Nagar. The next day again, Baba went to the village and collected all the fasters and brought them to the ashram and gave them milk and bread with which to break their fast. Because of the recovery from what had appeared a hopeless case, Dr. Karkal gave a tea party to Baba and the Mandali, and Baba gave him a silver flower pot. Hadri and Pendu, the doctor's assistants, were each given a woolen muffler. For the first time, Dunsak, a substantial dish most enjoyed by Iranis and Parsis, was served. A party of professional jugglers passed through and gave a performance for the boys, for which they were given 5 rupees. For the first time, there was a shortage of water and its use was curtailed. A large number of Sikh soldiers came for darshan. Vishnu's mother had Baba and the Mandali to dinner. The birthday of Hanuman, the great monkey devotee of Rama, was celebrated with a lavish distribution of jalabjis and the singing of a new bhajan by Babu Rao Talati from the village. Baba now summoned the Mandali and told them that he would stay for the same, I'll start that paragraph again. Baba now summoned the Mandali and told them that he would stay for some time in the tank on the hill. He enjoined on them to be very attentive and punctual in their duties and maintain a good discipline during his absence. He went up in the evening after a light supper with Mandali and boys following in procession to the recitation of bhajans and the ringing of tals. Arrived there, he distributed sweets to all, and with a final warning to be careful and thorough in their duties, he signed them to return. 2, Jal and Bal remained to attend him. This was on the 3rd of May. He stayed in confinement for 7 days and then came down and spent a day with the Mandali and returned to the tank in the evening. This became a daily practice, coming down in the morning and returning in the evening. One evening, just before Baba returned to the hill, Pendu lost his temper over something or other and walked out, and it took some time to get him to come back, and consequently, Baba did not go until nearly 8 o'clock. One day, he told the Mandali something of his experiences prior to realization. His mind received a great shock and vibrated with inexpressible violence. This was followed by a great darkness, and finally there was light, unimaginable light. A vague idea of that light can be had by considering the sun of our world as but a shadow of a drop of an infinite ocean of dazzling light. And the darkness bore no similarity to what we call darkness. Very few see the real light in the real darkness, and very few experience the real pain, the agony of separation from beloved God and the longing to see him. The worldly pains and sorrows are nothing but mental weakness. There is not a single truly unhappy person in the world, except those who are like fish thrown up out of the water, twisting and turning to return to their native element. Leader, who had gone to Narayan Maharaj's place in Kedgaon to deliver some Puranic lectures, returned. He reported that he had met that master and had carefully mentioned that he also went to Meher Baba. Maharaj told him, I and he are one. You serve me by serving him. He is Sat Purush. He once came to me in the past. I think I need a break here.
Okay, I'll pause the recording.
Right.
Resuming the recording with Marvin reading.
Baba frequently impressed upon them all the sacredness of their cause and exhorted them to be steadfast and vigilant in duties and in control over their desires and emotions. And frequently, he folded his hands in namaskar to them, thus showing respect to the essential nature of each. And this courting and compassion touched them more than anything else could. He told them that without making the circle realized, he would not leave Mehrabad. But he said, don't compel me to do so earlier through your inattention to my orders and instructions and general lethargy. I fold my hands before you and fall at your feet and ask you not to leave me before I speak. Even if I scold you severely, show displeasure or disgust, Don't leave your duties. Beware of lustful thoughts and actions and impulses of temper and anger. Follow my words. They are for your own good. The company of a real saint, the service of humanity, and the repetition of God's name. These three are the highest possible yoga and religious practice. Serve the sufferers who come to the Dharmshala and hospital wholeheartedly, and you will be serving me. The boys were given new times for rising. The big boys at 4:30 and the small ones at 5, while the Mandali did not have to get up until 6 o'clock. There was some discussion about Mahatma Gandhi's latest declaration in the papers that he was in search of a guru. Baba asked, did they think that this would be so? Answering the question himself, he said, one who is really after the guru could not rest contented with statements to the press, but would be searching along the highways and among the alleys until he found his heart's desire. Gandhi put in, if Gandhiji is not going out after the guru, why doesn't the guru go to him? Baba replied, the guru does what he does at his own sweet pleasure. He cannot be stirred by a wish today and a new idea tomorrow. The talk turned on Hafiz, and Baba said that his Diwan was the best book in the world because it engendered feelings which ultimately led to illumination. Vishnu was asked to see that the compounder's son was given 2 hours tuition by Chanji on his return from some outside work. Vishnu did so accordingly and considered that that was all he had to do in the matter. But when later Baba heard that only 1 hour's tuition had been given, he blamed Vishnu for not seeing that the order was carried out properly. Baba told Kishan to give him, Baba, 3 strokes with the cane on his hands. Kishan did so, and Vishnu stood rooted and speechless until it was over. And then with a bound left the room and ran hither and thither, crying out. Some tried to reason with him, some tried to catch hold of him, but he eluded them. At last Arjun was able to bring him to Baba, and he soothed and comforted him. 12 new boys were admitted to the school. Baba one day asked his companions, did they think he needed anything? Some said no, some were vague and indefinite. Baba said, though I still need and require things, it is through love and nothing else. Another time he taught them, there are 3 kinds of Sat Purushas, or divine men. One is the Veda Mukta, or Majzub, who is self-absorbed in the experience of infinite knowledge, existence, and bliss, and is completely unaware of the world of imagination, including his own body. 2 is the Jivan Mukta, or Salik, who after self-realization comes down to the gross sphere and is conscious of his body and immediate surroundings, but does not take part in material activity. 3 is the Acharya, or Kutub, as he is called in the Persian language, who after realization not only regains gross consciousness, but also takes up the indescribable functions of universal upliftment. All 3 are God realized, all 3 are perfect and true. Baba put some questions to Shagan, who failed to give prompt and clear answers, at which Baba fell at his feet and told him, hereafter you don't do any work, just eat and drink and loll about the place. Shagan was petrified for a moment and then rushed away over the fields, somewhere, anywhere out of Mehrabad. Baba ordered the good runners to pursue him and bring him back. After some time, and no one had returned, Baba had the horse harnessed to the small tanga and set out with Rustam across the fields. But the going was so rough that presently he and Rustam had to take the horse out of the shafts and ride after the runaway. Rustam soon caught up with him and brought him back, and in a few minutes there was no sign that anything untoward had occurred. In the evening he played cricket with the Mandali, and after supper went for a spin to Shindiwada, about 10 or 12, with 10 or 12 of the men. At a tea party at Kaka Shahani's place, Baba told the Mandali two of the external signs of a Sadguru's inner working. The movements of his right hand and right leg reflect divine help being given towards realization, and the movements of the left hand and the left leg spell worldly happiness and miracles. These miracles, in fact, happen automatically through Maya to those persons who have a certain faith in the Sadguru. But of course, they cannot be expected to occur for the Mandali, since the Sadguru is always working for them. A most unusual wind occurred. Doors and windows, casement type, banged, and papers flew everywhere. The bamboo matting creaked, and the iron roof hissed. Baba asked someone to put on the gramophone. It's seemingly curious time for music, a seemingly curious time for music, before the record was half finished, and the wind passed on, leaving a fine powdered dust covering everything, and everybody looking at one another in astonishment. The trustees of the tomb of Bapu Saheb, which is in the Mehrabad area, came for a donation for their anniversary celebration of the master's samadhi. Baba gave them 50 rupees. In passing, Baba said that master was not actually a salik, but a majzub. Asked again what was the difference between the two, Baba elaborated what he had said recently. A sadguru or kutub, after realization, comes back to serve humanity, and so is perfectly aware of the imaginative universe, whereas the majzub is drowned in divinity and never returns. He may be likened to an innocent child, a ghost, or a madman. A child because he cannot be tempted by wealth or women, those two irresistible attractions of Maya. A ghost because he is constantly moving about from place to place without any purpose in view. A madman because he has no consciousness of his own body. He is of no, quote, use, unquote, to the world at large, although personal benefits can be obtained from his company and by serving him, though he is unaware of such service. But the sadhu is aware of everything, knows everything, is everything, and does everything. If at all, God could not do something, the Sadguru could do it at a stroke. If anyone were to ask me, who is the greater, Ahura Mazda or Zoroaster, I would unhesitatingly answer Zoroaster. But because the people of his time were in a primitive state and would not have been able to appreciate such teachings, he directed them to pray to Ahura Mazda. Mansur, when he spoke the truth and said he was God, was tortured for saying so. Jesus not only claimed that he and the Father were one, but also held up to people the possibility of that blessed union for all who would do away with lust, greed, and anger, and meditate on the Almighty with love. But when one has the company of a living master, that is the quickest and surest way to obtain divine upliftment. Baba likened the path to God to 4 courses of a schooling, that is, levels of education. Primary, observing ceremonies and the dry drills of religious injunctions. Matriculation, service of humanity without selfish considerations. Bachelors of Arts, repetition of the Almighty's name with love. Master's degree, the service of a Sadguru by following his orders to the letter in all matters. Upazi Maharaja's 56th birthday came round. on 15th May, the long range of fires had been lit, and the huge cooking pots set thereon were beginning to bubble by the time most of the Mundley tumbled out of their beds at 4 a.m. Tea was soon served, and Masaji took over the cooking and put his own special flavors into the simple dal and rice that was to be served to an unexpected 3,000 to 4,000 guests. The principal buildings, especially the side durbar, had been decorated with flowers and buntings as designs in jubilation. At 9 o'clock, Baba fed the mandali with his own hands. It being also Sailor's birthday, they received an extra handout of jalebis. The school was closed for 3 days, and many of the daily activities slowed down. The public feast began at 10 o'clock and went on till 4 in the afternoon. Bleeder gave his Puranic recital to a packed and attentive audience, and then the birth ceremony was performed. But the thing that created the wildest enthusiasm was the palanquin procession at night, which carried Maharaja's picture round the ashram and to the hill and back. Then there were fireworks for an hour. The next day was a sports day with running and obstacle and sack and other races. Awnings had been put up for Baba and the women devotees. The pre-monsoon rains began. During tea at Kaka Shahani's one afternoon, when bhajias was served, Baba remarked that the real bhajia is prepared from the flour of sanskaras and fried in the oil of devotion over the fire of love. I'm going to read that again. Baba remarked that the real bhajia is prepared from the flour of sanskaras and fried in the oil of devotion over the fire of love. A shower of rain fell, and looking out, Baba saw some of the boys running home drenched. He immediately set off in the rain to the ashram, where he took Pandoba, Vishnu, and Chanji to task for not timing better the boys leaving the school to go home. The circus came to town, and a party was made up to go, but transport could not be arranged. Baba said, "No matter, the whole of existence is a circus, so why go to this little one anyway?" But he provided a good entertainment the same evening by having different ones give lectures in the languages they knew least. Indians, being multilingual, find twisted and broken sentences hilarious. Dr. Kalkal was to give a party for which a number of edibles were being prepared at his house since early morning. At 9 o'clock, Baba went with the mandali to the house and asked the doctor if all was ready. On being told that only the dish of seb was ready, Baba told them to cancel the other things and they would have only seb and tea. So tea was made and poured, and Baba distributed the seb. Then Baba said, "There is one key to the treasure box of the world, but it is in the hands of 5 perfect masters. One is the actual key holder, without which the box cannot be opened. The second is the guard over the box, whose permission is required before touching the box. The third alone can open the box. The fourth has the authority to distribute the treasure, and the fifth has the power of authorizing the distribution. In this way, the 5 equally hold and use the one key." One of the boys absconded. Baba said that unless he returned, he would fast for 7 days. "I have told you all 100 times," he said, "to be more alert and attentive, even bowing down to your feet, but nothing stirs you." But presently he started laughing silently and said that the boy was a rolling stone anyway. The Bombay Parsi Theatrical Company came to town with a play that great lover of God, Surdas, produced for Baba's entertainment. Baba went with 20 of the mandali and 81 boys in a lorry, making 3 or 4 trips. After the first scene change, Baba got up and roamed about, even in the wings, talking to everyone he met. Back at the ashram after supper, Baba invited discussion of the play. Chanji repeated the whole plot. Baba said it was a good play since it successfully presented the subject. When lust is left, love is met. Kaka Shahani gave a special tea party to celebrate his son Mohan's passing his BA, Bachelor of Arts. With his weakest subject, Saxon English, Mohan invoked Baba's help by taking his name and opening the textbook and memorizing the page he opened at. At the examination, he found that page contained the answers to the questions. Masaji complained that the talk being in English, he could not follow it, and Baba sent him outside. However, the inquisitive old man was soon allowed to come back. Tea with milk was served, and Baba distributed the sweets. He then played cricket for a while and went on up to the tank. On the 16th June, Baba said he would fast till February because he had to go to reverse breathing, the same again as he had earlier, for now he must give the final touches to the perfection of his circle. The next morning, Baba came down early, and there were a lot of people to see him, including a sadhu who wanted to see God. Baba told him that if he would remain silent for a year and take only one meal a day, he would show him God. He said he would, but nothing came of it. He was still itching from the bite of the wander bug, and Baba sent him to Narayan Maharaj to serve him. Because of some mistakes committed by the Mandali, Baba refused to go to the next tea party at Kaka Shahani's. But Mrs. Shahani headed a deputation to him and prevailed upon him to come. From the 19th, the Mandali were asked to fast in turns for 19 hours, from 8 p.m. to 3 o'clock the next afternoon, until February. Young Mohan was appointed fast manager. Baba and the Mandali went to the village police Patil's place for a marriage in his family. A kerosene pressure lamp was lit for the first time in the ashram, and the children were wonderstruck at its brightness. Although he had begun his long fast till February, Baba accepted some tasty food cooked by some of the women, ate a few morsels, and gave the rest to the first faster, who had just finished his time. On Rustamji's birthday, all at Mehrabad were treated to milk tea and various pastries and sweets. Baba now ground flour for half an hour each day. He also, for some time, had been washing the clothes of five boys. He started taking tea at 4 o'clock each day, and any of the Mandali around got a few sips. Maybe we should take a break.
Okay, I'll stop the recording for today.